All right, so over on my screen, we have what I would say is the most understated article of the week. Toyota, Mercedes, BMW API flows exposed owners' personal information. Oh, well, that doesn't sound that bad. What did it leak? Like their, maybe, I don't know, their last names, their email addresses? No, this actually allowed people to like unlock cars and get like internal documents from dealerships. This is so much worse than it sounds. And that's why this is my favorite story of the week. We talked about this a couple weeks ago where we were talking about some researchers who had found flaws in SiriusXM that allowed them to go through and do some pretty crazy stuff using information like the VIN of the car in order to unlock the vehicle, get owner information, and even more. So this goes deeper. It also goes into something that I wasn't aware, where if you were to purchase one of these newer cars that has all these telematics and the previous owner wasn't removed from the telematic system, that person could track you basically everywhere you go because of some of these vehicle services that these researchers found were left exposed. Okay, so who's impacted here? BMW, Rolls-Royce, Mercedes-Benz, Ferrari, Porsche, Jaguar, Land Rover, Ford, Kia, Honda, Infiniti, Nissan, Acura, Hyundai, Toyota, and Genesis. It also involves technology Spirion, Revere, SiriusXM connected vehicle services. These are all telematic services that are installed in these vehicles that had problems with their APIs. So this is also by the team led by Sam Curry, who previously disclosed the Hyundai, Genesis, and SiriusXM security vulnerabilities in November, which we reported on. Previously, they were talking about how you could unlock and start cars. Now that the 90-day vulnerability disclosure is passed, we can go into more details. It mostly involves these internal portals that allowed people to go in with single sign-on vulnerabilities that let you basically sign into this account without the proper information, like the password. So once you're in, it allows you to access internal chats, Mattermost servers, Jenkins, AWS instances, and X-entry systems that connect to customer cars and more. And some of these also involve the ability to actually access the car, like unlock them. For BMW, the researchers could also access dealer portals. So this is making VIN queries. They could actually log in as though they were a dealer and retrieve sales documents containing sensitive owner information, like their addresses. Now, obviously, these are luxury cars, so the addresses here are going to be like celebrities, rich people, like these are the kinds of things that really should not be leaked because they contain sensitive personal information about people who have a lot of money and are making very expensive purchases. Disclosing the owner information obviously is a pretty serious thing, but being able to track the vehicles in real time is where this attack shines. So these vulnerabilities allow any of these telematic enabled vehicles to be tracked. And that's because they have GPS services, in case the car gets stolen, to provide service for the owner to find the vehicle. And this is offered as like an add-on or something where you can use the service if you want to, but it's also very, very difficult to disable this. So it's frequently left on. In fact, it's almost always left on by default, and would have allowed hackers to track the owner of the car in real time with a good amount of precision. Getting this readout could also give you access to historical data. So that means aside from tracking a vehicle in real time, you could tell where it had been. If you were to just purchase a vehicle and somebody else had access to these systems, even if these security vulnerabilities are fixed, they can still do all this stuff. They can still see like where you've been and stuff like that. They couldn't pull dealer records and stuff. That's unique to this vulnerability. But what I'm saying is the telematics in modern vehicles are so integrated that you literally need to be worried about the previous owner of the car not logging themselves out of the car. A lot of these flaws have now been fixed, but one thing that's notable is that for the first time that I'm aware of, hackers could have executed the vehicle equivalent of swatting and basically turn a vehicle's status to stolen, which would automatically have reported it to police and put the driver at risk of a felony stop. Theoretically, you could, with a phone call, like letting them know where they are because you have access to their real-time GPS information, you could potentially set somebody up for a very bad day. Really a lot of implications for what could have happened here before these flaws were fixed. But even though they are fixed, like I said, it still is possible for people to get in and do this stuff. And I really wasn't aware of how connected and how serious these incidents can be when they involve cars. So they recommend that you limit the amount of personal information stored in the vehicle and don't enable any of these telematics or companion apps if possible. But yeah, you should go through some additional steps now when purchasing a used vehicle and make sure that anybody who had prior access to it is now completely signed out, doesn't have access to any of these services, because the ability to unlock the car, the ability to see where it is in real time, that's really serious. And a lot of people don't realize that this is something they could be signing up for when they purchase a newer vehicle that has a prior owner.